Shalom. First and foremost, we'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahawashi, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Today what we want to do is get into a quick little lesson and speak upon the breath of life and give understanding as to what the breath of life is pertaining to. We'll go into a little Hebrew, and then kind of break that down for you brothers and sisters, and then move on with some precepts. We'll start off here with Genesis 2:7.
All right, this is Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. And Yahweh formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
So now when you go into that word breath, that word for breath is neshama. Now when you go into the word neshama, the Hebrew word neshama, is speaking of intellect, speaking of comprehension, understanding. So the Most High gave unto Adam the intellect, the ability to understand and comprehend his words. Now that differs from animals. Animals are not given neshama, they have just a spirit. So that neshama, just keep that in your mind, is the understanding or the intellect of the Most High that he gave unto man. So I'm going to bring forth the precept here in Job 33 that goes along with the Genesis 2 and 7. This is Job 33, starting at the 4th verse. The Spirit of God hath made me, and the breath of the Almighty hath given me life. So the only way that you get life is through the word of the Most High. Now when it's said, when you look up that word breath, here, that same word is neshama, the breath of life. That's what gives you life. Get some more precepts here.
Yeah, Second Esdras 2.
This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 3. I'm gonna just start at verse 4.
Oh, okay.
But the point is in verse 5. O Lord, who bears rule, thou spakest at the beginning, when thou didst plant the earth, and that thyself alone, and commandest the people, and gavest a body unto Adam without soul, which was the workmanship of thy hands, and didst breathe into him the breath of life, and he was made living before thee.
Yeah, so he breathed into him the breath of life, and he was made living before him, because now Adam has the ability to comprehend the words of Yahweh and do those words. So he's hearing them, and then he's applying what he's heard. Right?
Yeah, what the brother read goes directly with Genesis chapter 2 and 7.
Yeah.
So he says he was living before him, meaning it made him a living soul.
Yeah.
Meaning now he actually can understand, he can comprehend.
Right. Right.
It's pretty much like that's what separates us from beasts. From animals. That's the big thing that separates us from animals, is that we have the ability to receive instruction from the Lord. Animals act on instinct.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Which we can if you're basically using your flesh. Yeah. But the Most High gives you that balance by giving you that neshama that the brother was talking about. Mm-hmm. Which is the reason why the Most High holds man accountable for their actions.
That's right. That's right.
Because of the fact that he gave them something that he couldn't give animals. And animals act on instinct. That's why even in the scriptures, the Most High already made animals act on instinct, and they do things accordingly. But man is different.
Yep. That's right. So
that's why you can't tame like a wild animal. Like a lion or something. You never know what it's gonna do, man.
Yep. Anytime it can pop up and tear. They kill traders all the time. Look what happened with 6 foot of rock. Yep. Mm-hmm. Look what happened with the old boy died the same way. The crocodile. What's that dude?
Oh yeah, crocodile. Steve Irwin. That's around with them stingrays, man. That stingray.
That's something like just say like a shark. You can't tame no shark or killer whale. Like Esau be trying to tame these killer whales at SeaWorld.
Yep, they be killing them, man. Yep. They be killing them out there in San Antonio.
Right.
And then Esau be sitting there wondering why. I'm like, dude, it's a freaking, first of all, you raised him.
It's just a baby.
Yeah.
Try to indoctrinate him.
They indoctrinate with food. Right. Have it starve in that big old tank, in that small tank that can't really swim around.
Yep.
And then they come with the fishes like, hey, do what we do, we're going to give you this fish.
Right.
And then after a while, I'd be like, man, I'm going to act on this thing. You an enemy.
Yep. So let me bring this one out. This is Job 27:3. It states, all the while, let me start at the top. Moreover, Job continued his parable and said, as God liveth, who have taken away my judgment, and the Almighty who have vexed my soul, all the while my breath is in me, and the Spirit of God is in my nostrils. So when you look at that word breath there, that word is neshama. It's neshama. So the Most High, even though Job went through all that vexation, he still had that understanding, that comprehension. He was not dwelling in darkness. He still had the light of the Spirit within his nostrils, meaning that he was still being guided by the ways of Yahweh. So, the scriptures are very plain in giving us the understanding of what that word neshama means.
You got to be able to separate it from the word napash.
Yeah, you got to be able to separate it from napash.
The word for spirit.
For soul.
As well. Like all the different words.
Napash, ruach, and all. Yeah.
So all of those are different entities for you to understand.
Yeah.
The way it works. Because like a lot of times, the part of the reason why we're doing this because like in Israel, they don't talk about these other things.
Right.
I mean, this is a small lesson.
Yeah.
But it opens up your understanding as you read the scriptures. It's going to open up your understanding of like how things are when you read certain scriptures about souls crying out to the Lord.
Right.
Understanding of like when it says his breath left him.
Right.
Things like that. It says, if you go to verse 2 of that Job 27, as God liveth who hath taken away my judgment, and Almighty who hath vexed my soul. I mean, if you just within that, there's multiple components. Soul, verse 3. You got the word spirit, you got the word breath of life. These are all different things. But they all work with each other.
Yeah, they all combine with each other. So when you gather into that, it's a script in there that talks about the neshama, which is the intellect of the Most High, which is where your comprehension and understanding comes from. So now listen to this. This is Psalms 32:9. It says, be ye not as the horse or as the mule, which have no understanding. So man is not like the beast. The neshama was not given unto beasts. He gave only man the neshama. He did not give that unto the beast. So the beast would not have the intellect or the comprehension or the understanding that man has. It's a very simple concept. So you can go in through the precepts, or you can look through the Hebrew and get a correlation between man and beast in that sense. So, it's just a quick little lesson just to bring your brothers and sisters up to speed to understand these words. So when you read that Genesis 2 and 7, you understand that the Most High gave Adam understanding to comprehend his commandments. And so now when you go into other aspects dealing with the breath or the soul or the spirit, you can compartmentalize and get an understanding of what this is speaking of. And in later lessons, that we'll do, you'll see how it will join in together. So this was a quick lesson pertaining unto neshama, the breath of life. And with that, we'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua. Peace and blessings to the whole of the land. Shalom.